Can you hear me, Coach?
I can
I
hear
should
you.
have you. I got you loud and clear. You can hear him too, right, Colin? You all
I can
good?
I can I can hear you, brother.
My man. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We could not be any better, man. We're excited to hear from you, to be honest.
Yeah, brother. Just
Yeah.
got into Florida just literally just got in Florida literally just a little bit ago. So it
Okay.
is
You got your
actually cold.
place?
I'm in the panhandle of Florida where John was with me just a week and a half ago. It's actually cold here in Florida. So
I told
so
Steph we should go. I was like, I wanted to go in a couple weeks. She's like, it's gonna be cold there. I'm like, I didn't think it got as cold there as I didn't know how cold it got there. But
yeah,
she
it's
said we can't do the
typically
beach.
yeah, it's typically, it's still cool to be down here. I'm going to be down here for 2 weeks, but it
Yeah.
does get cool this time of year in November because we're up in the Panhandle, and
Yeah.
so it's warmer than Tennessee, but it's not as warm as if you're in Miami.
Yeah. I love it. I just got off the phone with Nick Aiella and he was like, it's 85. He's in I don't know, Boca or wherever he is, somewhere down there, southern Florida. And I was like, it is not, it was 30 when I was out walking this morning in Atlanta. So
Wow.
yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you getting on. I don't if everybody doesn't know, it's Coach Michael Burt. He is a coach in many ways to many people, starting in athletics when he was much younger, and all the way up into high level business people today. Works with a ton of top entrepreneurs in not only insurance but mortgages, real estate, just business people in general, network marketing companies, really high end producers, and really does a great job at helping people, as he calls, activate their prey drive, get people to really dig down deep and get excited about building whatever you're trying to build. And he knows people really well. Bert's decided that he wants to add to his business portfolio and build an insurance agency. So we're working together to help him build there, and he's going to be adding a lot of value to all of our groups, because part of him coming on board was we want him, his coaching style, his techniques to be fed to everyone with us, to benefit everybody. And he's gracious enough to go, I'll just help the whole company wherever I can. And I'm definitely, like I said about promote, I'm definitely open to letting him train more. So if there's anything we can go back, you tell me, Coach, if you want to do some Q&A stuff or you just want to let it rip for a little while. I'm good either way, man.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is kind of unpack just a little bit of 10 or 15 minutes on what prey drive is and
Yeah,
why it's important, and then I'd like to do some Q&A.
love it.
I want you to think of prey drive like if you see that lion behind John's picture there. An animal has a prey drive, okay? And it is the animal's ability to stalk, capture, and kill prey. Okay. If you look up the word prey drive, PREYDRIVE. Okay. And I saw this. I was at a workshop once with a Vietnam veteran who was in the war dog division of the Vietnam War. And his job every morning was to wake up in the jungle by himself and to go ahead of the infantry with a dog. And the dog's job was to sniff out bombs, booby traps, ambushes. And I want you to imagine the psychology or the self-talk you would have to tell yourself. So any day you think it's hard selling insurance, I want you to think about waking up in the jungle with nobody except you and that animal. And he kept talking about the dog having a prey drive. And I was sitting at this boot camp and I'm like, what is he talking about? And so I Google it. Prey drive, animals' ability to stalk, capture, kill prey. Okay. And as soon as I heard that, and I said, sounds like a good salesperson to me, right? I mean, they see it, they pursue it, they capture it, they bring it home. Okay. Because I've been coaching people for the last 30 years. I've been coaching some of the top salespeople literally for the last 20 years, and especially some of the top insurance salespeople for the last 15 years. And so as soon as I heard that and I read that definition, I go, I think humans have a prey drive. It is not their ability to see something and kill it. It is their ability to see something with their eyes optically. You see something that you want, and you have the persistence and the intensity to pursue it. So this is the concept of my 17th book. I'm going to put this in the chat, John, because when they buy the book, it's coming out in January in pre-order. They get a lot of bonuses. They get free, full free coaching days with me. They get 90 days of kind of like weekly accountability and pray drive for lunch. So when you buy the book, when you pre-order the book, I've heavily incentivized people to, because they get so much coaching when they buy the book, and they just have to buy the book. Now, so this book is my 17th book. So it is the psychology of activating the prey drive in humans. Okay. So I trademarked those two words, prey drive, which means I'm the only person on planet Earth that can talk about prey drive in a human. Okay. And so here's what I said prey drive is. It is your ability to see something that you want, a better life, a better house, a better car, a better future. Like when you listen to John's story was activated because in some ways he was sick and tired of being sick and tired. He was embarrassed by what was going on in his life. He knew he had all this potential. And one day, boom, he just flipped the switch. And from that day, what amazes me about John is how fast he built an agency with the number of agents in the compact period of time. Can we all agree that's impressive? Okay, because a lot of people say, "I just take all these years." What he did, man, is boom, prey drive was activated. And once the prey drive is activated, you are in pursuit. You are in pursuit of what? Deals, partnerships, opportunity, potential. You with me? You are so it's like you wake up every day and you are like the lion that John has behind him that goes into the jungle. And the lion only feeds the family if he kills something that day. Right? And you're on the hunt, man. You're on the hunt for deals. You're on the hunt for possibility. You're on the hunt for potential, right? And you are, listen to what I'm about to say, initiating. Like if you follow me around all day long, you know what I do? Text, email, follow up, video, put deals together all day, every day, all day, every day. There's no inertia, which is resistance to move. There's no stagnation. It's like, well, let's just wait on something to happen. Let's just like I try to get to 25,000 a day in my coaching business. Okay. And that's, 6 million a year. And it's like every day I wake up, I go. Now that I've got into the insurance business, it's like every day, who can we talk to? Who can we connect to? How do we follow up with them? How do we bring it to a close? How do we get them excited about it? Because selling is really just getting other people excited to take action. Just think about this. All of your money's in the future. All of your money's in the future. It's in your ability to help them with their future. Okay. So prey drive is instinct. Now, when I started studying to write this book, it took me 2 years to write this book. And it was brutal. It was brutal. I had a major publishing deal. I turned it in. And when I turned it in, Cheyenne, the publisher sent it back to me. Here's what they said. We read the book. We believe you have another gear in you, coach, because you just wrote a book about prey drive, and we actually believe you can find another gear. So I had to rewrite the whole book. It took me another year to rewrite the book. So that's why I'm so glad that it's finally coming out. But I did all this study. I studied animals. How do they have prey drive? How do they pursue? How do they go on the hunt? Then I studied humans. Why do they become complacent? Why do they become lazy? Why do they not pursue? Why do they sit and wait on things to happen? Why do they not step into their potential? Why do they not want a better life? Why do they get comfortable? Okay. Then I studied the top 20 motivational theories. I deconstructed those theories. And I basically figured out motivation comes down to one thing. We move toward things we want. We move toward things we want. When we're hungry, we move toward food. When we're lonely, we move toward people. When we're thirsty, we move toward water. Okay. What happens if you have everything you want? What happens if you got a good life? This insurance business is giving you a good life and you drive a nice car. You live in a good house. That actually suppresses your prey drive. Okay. Satisfied needs never motivate people. Only unsatisfied needs. Okay. Satisfied needs never motivate, only unsatisfied needs. So what big time people do is they set a big target and they push as hard as they can with intensity toward that target. And then they achieve that target. And then they go, all right, what's the next target? They never achieve and rest because that deactivates the prey drive. This is why you don't see championship teams win back-to-back championships. This is why when you see people win back-to-back championships, it's a really big deal because most people win a championship, right? And then they relax. Okay, why don't they win 2 championships or 3 championships? This is why when people make $1 million a year, they get comfortable, or $250,000 a year, they get comfortable. because they lose their prey drive. Okay. And so I want you to write down these 3 phases of prey drive. Number 1, the prey drive must be activated. And I actually believe in most people, John, it's never been activated. Okay. I've got a guy that works on my team right now who was making $150,000 when he came to work for me. And here's what he said to me, Cal. He said, I thought I worked hard until I worked with you. I thought I had a lot of activity until I saw how much activity you have. I thought I prospected every day until I worked with you. He said, the sheer push and volume and intensity that you have, man, I haven't seen anything like it. It's a bodybuilder. This guy gets in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning and lifts and pushes. And he's like, man, I was comfortable. Like, I didn't understand this pace. So number 1, the prey drive has to be activated, and it has to be activated every day. Every single day. Remember this, we go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. It all goes to 0 at midnight. It all goes to 0 at midnight. If you can tell yourself you are dead broke every morning when you wake up, and let it motivate you. Let it motivate you. We go to bed tired, we wake up hungry. It all goes to 0 at midnight. There comes a time when winter asks what we did all spring and summer. Okay. Number 2, there must be a persistence to this prey drive. And this is the part that people don't like. This is, the Navy SEALs call it embracing the suck. Okay. Dabo Swinney at Clemson called it sucking the sour to get to the sweet. It is the things you got to do to win. I did a virtual event yesterday, 2 days. Get your mind around this. In 2 days, we generated 275 grand, 275,000 in 2 days. And by the time this is over, we expect it will generate about 500,000 in 2 days. Okay. Now it's like promoters, the promoters get paid, and I did it with Tim Story, who's a life coach, and he gets his percentage. And then, we'll end up, but that event, I'll make about $250,000 in that event in 2 days. And so here's the point. Persistence is doing the things every day you don't want to do so that you can have what I call these big licks. It's the prospecting. It's the follow-up. It's the promotion that John was talking about. It's the things you don't want to do every day that you got to do so you can have these big licks and bring in large numbers of people at one time. So the second part of prey drive is persistence. It is the willingness to do the things you don't want to do. Suck the sour to get the sweet. Okay. Step 3 of prey drive is intensity. And intensity is setting a target and moving toward that target with an intensity every single day, with a push every single day. Okay. Now let me show you where I don't see this in a lot of insurance agents. Follow-up. I don't see it in follow-up is I'm going to bring this deal to a close. Okay. National statistics tell me that most people follow up 1.8 times, when every stat in the world says that it takes 7 to 15 times to get a person to take an action. And that's not just on a person you're selling insurance to. It's on a possibility. It's on a strategic partnership. It's on bringing somebody into your insurance business. It's on, right? So intensity is the willingness to just keep going 7 to 15 touches until you bring a deal to a close, right? Like John and I are working on some insurance guys out in Phoenix, and pretty much every day I'm like, hey man, how we doing? What's going on? How can we get you across the finish line? When you want to take a meeting? Can we get you a meeting with Sean? Can we do this? It's like boom, 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 boom. Because the word decide means to kill something off. The word decision means to cut something away. The word close means to bring something to an end. So when I lock into something, it's like a dog on a bone, and I'm going until I see it all the way through to its conclusion. And I'll ask people, did you follow up with so-and-so? I say, well, I couldn't get them on the phone, or they were busy, or, this. I'm like, how many times did you follow up? How many did you have their attention? Did you explain the value? Did you hit them in a different way? Did you give them 3 options, right? Like how hard did you work to exhaust the options to get a person to take action? Okay. So these 3 phases. So I want you to type in the chat box, Which part do you struggle with? Is it activation of your drive daily? Is it persistence of your drive? Is it intensity of your drive? So just put in the chat box right there. Where do you struggle the most? So I see intensity from Frank. That's good. Activation, persistence, and intensity. There's activation. Good. Ty said how to activate. All right, I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Persistency. Follow up. That would be persistence and intensity. 1 and 3. Good. See, what we're doing here is we're identifying our missing structures. This is why people need coaches in their life, right? Like a good coach will be right there creating a tension in your life, pushing you, challenging you, creating that tension for you to take an action with something. Okay. So a lot of people struggle with persistence and intensity, although some people struggle with activation. So the question becomes, what activates prey drive? Okay. I'm going to give you 5 things. And I want you to think about for you. So Samantha, I want you to think about what activates your drive. Here's how I ask this question. On your best day that you sold the most insurance you've ever sold, that you're operating at the highest frequency possible. Why? Why did that happen? What happened that day? Okay. What happened that day? Okay. Here are 5 activators of prey drive. Number 1, fear is an activator of prey drive. Now, it's interesting, John, that you would think that most people would be motivated by potential. Like you can have a better life. This business can help you drive a nicer car, live a better life, have extra money, stay in nicer hotels. But that's actually not what motivates a lot of people. Pain motivates a lot of people. So fear is, think of fear of losing something. Okay. So I practice a term called mental subtraction. And mental subtraction is where you take something you love and you pretend that you have to give it up because you didn't hit your sales numbers. So take something you love, your house, your car, a hobby you got that is paid for by your insurance business. Okay. And then I want you to pretend that you don't hit your numbers, so you got to sell it or give it up. How many of you that thought of that having to give that up would activate you to pick up the phone and sell insurance? Right? Okay. So I have this nice private jet that I fly around on. It's really expensive. And I was speaking yesterday. So my wife and family flew down on the jet on Tuesday. It's really expensive to fly it back and forth. And so my wife and family flew down on the jet, and I flew down on Southwest today. And it wasn't about 3 minutes into that flight, John, that I text my wife and I said, let me tell you something. I ain't doing this again. Okay. No matter how much insurance we got to sell, I ain't doing this again. No matter what we got to do, I ain't doing this again. Okay. See, that motivated me. That motivated me. See, losing something motivates me. How many of you losing something motivates you? Okay. So I hate losing more than I like winning. Okay. So to me, fear of losing something is an activator of prey drive. Okay. So that's 1. Number 2, competition is an activator of prey drive. Okay. And I'm a big believer, and I'm sure, John, that, you post leaderboards, where everybody's at, how much insurance everybody sold. How many of you, I was coaching a bank once and they had 38 branches. And every week on Monday, I'd post everybody's score. And it was embarrassing to be number 38, right? I'd get on these Monday calls and I'd say, now, number 38, I'd say, how do you feel being number 38? And they'd say, Coach, it's embarrassing. Gosh, it's so embarrassing. I said, what are you going to do this week to change it so you're not 38 next week? And sure enough, they go from 38 to 30 to 25. Like seeing that leaderboard every week activated their prey drive, because it was embarrassing to be in the top 5 and in the bottom 5 of that leaderboard, right? And so competition is an activator of prey drive. I think you need a game to play. I think you need a trophy to win. Goggins talks about winning the trophy case in the mind. You don't win a physical trophy, but it's in the mind. That's the trophy you're winning. You know if you put the work in or not. You know if you did your best or not. You know if you showed up every day. You know if you followed up like you should, right? And the only person who really knows is you, especially in a world where people work, John, from their houses. The only person who really knows if you put the time in is you, man. Okay. And I typically do 35 to 45 high value activities every day to generate new money. And I got a target every day I'm trying to hit. And that gives me intensity. Okay. So number 2 is competition. Number 3 is environment. And I want you to think about the best cultures in the world where there's expectation. See, I'm building this greatness factory in downtown Nashville. It's this 8,000 square foot office complex. And I call it the greatness factory. I didn't call it the complacency factory. Okay. So I'm assuming the people that go to work there have a desire to be great. Right. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to lead the sales meetings. When I'm in the office on Monday, I'm going to bring all the companies in who work there, and I'm going to lead those meetings. And I'm going to get them kicked off and activated every week. When I was a basketball coach, because I was a basketball coach for a decade, we had the best locker rooms. And I used to teach the players we're the best. There is nobody better than us. That was part of identity. There is nobody that plays at the level we do. There's nobody that practices like we do. There's nobody that performs like we do. There's expectation here. And some of you right now don't have expectation in your life because you don't have somebody pushing you. You don't have somebody challenging you. You don't have somebody going, hey, man, what are you doing? Why? I called a guy on my team yesterday and I said, I'm going to give you 5 minutes of coaching. You need to show up and dress like somebody because people are diminishing your value in how you dress. I said, you need to quit, get out of the friend zone. John, you'll love this. I said, you're everybody's friend. And the friend zone is where they love you, but they never buy anything from you. People say to me, oh, he's such a nice guy. He's such a good, listen, people don't buy from just nice guys. They buy from stone cold killers, folks. And I said, you got to get out of the friend zone. Quit talking to everybody like your friend. You're not their friend. Okay. I'm friendly, but I'm not your friend. I'm your coach. And I can't be your friend and be your coach at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? Because I may have to get right up in that ass every now and then and push you a little bit and say, you ought to be selling a whole lot more insurance than what you're selling. And I can't be friends with everybody to do that. You think Tim Grover's your friend? He ain't your friend. He wasn't Michael Jordan's friend. He was his coach. So when you think about this, I really believe environment really matters, especially when you're working from home. That's why getting on these Zooms is so important. Having accountability, being around guys like John Wetmore, who's built an agency, scaled an agency. That's why that's important. Being around winning, seeing what winning looks like. Okay. Jeff Breeden's a softball coach. I was going to coaching clinics at 18 years old, getting around the best coaches in the world. I wanted to see how they walked into a room. How much confidence did they have? That's what I wanted to observe, not just what they said. I wanted to see how they talked, how they walked, how they spoke. That's environment. That is an activator of prey drive. Number 4, exposure. Exposure. I've got a friend named Tommy Davidson who's a real estate agent, and he's got 18 to 22-year-old kids that he's created a bullpen at his office where these 18 to 22-year-old kids come in. Some are making, 100, 150,000 a year. And I had this guy named Tim Story at my house this other week, who's a celebrity life coach, Oprah Winfrey and P. Diddy and all these top people. And Tommy made those boys go home at 3:30 and change clothes and put on something nice. And he wanted to show them what a big time guy from Hollywood looks like. So they all came dressed up. He's taught them how to shake hands, how to make eye contact, how to have a presence. See, that is exposure. And he's always asking me, how can I get these young kids to want more? And I said, get them around people who are doing bigger things. Let them see with their eyes. What is prey drive? Calvin, what is prey drive? Is Yoda on here? What is prey drive? Yoda, prey drive is seeing it. See, we brought Calvin and Yoda to the 505 down in Nashville. You get around the 505, pretty soon you'll be wanting to live at the 505. Because you see how nice it is, and it's right downtown, and it's elegant. Well, you don't know what it looks like until you go in there. So exposure is placing yourself in situations where you see something with the eyes, and it activates you. It motivates you, okay? And number 5, this is one of my favorite ones. Embarrassment is an activator of prey drive. I don't embarrass people when I'm coaching them, but I may say to you, help me understand why you got so much talent potential, but you're performing at such a low level. Help me understand why we spend all of our time on a call complaining about things you can't do anything about. Help me understand why you're not on the phone selling insurance. Help me understand why you're not following up 7 to 15 times. Help me understand how you came to me and told me you want to make $500,000 a year, and you could, but you're not. Help me to understand why you're so soft when you need to be tough. See, I don't embarrass people, but I ask hard questions. And the hard questions are, man, you're a level 10 person playing at a level 4 level. Now help me understand that. I asked Kevin Elko, John, how Saban talked to the players at Alabama, because you see Saban get very animated on the sidelines. And he says he gets animated, but he pulls them in real close. And he actually speaks to them like this. We recruited you because you're the best player in the country. And I can't, as your coach, watch you play below your potential because you're playing in Alabama. And we're one of the best teams in the world. And we are one of the best teams in the country. And help me to understand why you would let your teammates down like that. Because we recruited you because you're the best. Now, can you play the best for me? See, I had this player, Breeden knows this. I had a player that scored 4,000 points for me when I was a basketball coach, Anne Marie Lanning. I tried to name my first daughter, my first child, after her, Anne Marie. My wife said, hell no, we're not naming our kid after one of your players. And I was like, but she scored 4,000 points, for God's sakes. I like she's one of my favorite kids in the world, but my wife wouldn't let me do it. And we named her Ella Grace versus Anna Marie. Now, here's how I used to talk to Anne Marie, because she had her dad's toughness and her mom's emotionality. Her mom was real emotional, real dramatic, always involved in drama. She'd get real emotional all the time. Her dad was real tough. And I noticed if I pushed her hard and was negative, she wouldn't perform. The mom in her would come out. She'd get emotional. So I had to speak to her from a positive perspective. I'd say, Anne Marie, you're the best player I've ever coached. You're going to be Miss Basketball. You're going to go down in the history books as one of the greatest of all times. Okay. Now I need you tonight to step up and play like the greatest of all time. Can you do that for me? And man, she would go out there and score 40 or 50 or 60. Right. But if I pushed her the wrong way, she would shut down on me. So she left me and went to college. She played at Middle Tennessee State, and she didn't perform well. And her coach called me one day and he said, man, why ain't she playing hard for me? And I said, it's the way you communicate with her. She does not respond well when you hit her in a negative way. You got to talk to her as if she's the best. Use positive affirmation with her. Okay. If I said, Yoda, you're the best. You're the best in the world, man. You're the best. You're the best looking young dude I know, and you're the best insurance dude I know. And here's what I need you to do, Yoda. I need you to play at your level that you're capable of playing, man, because we recruited you because you're the best in the world. Now, can you do that for me? Because as a coach, man, I can't fathom letting you play below the line, man. See, that is a way to talk to people in a way. Like with your kids, that's the way I talk to my kids. Man, I love you. Help me to understand why you're making these decisions. Help me to understand. I mean, we've done a good job raising you, right? We've done a good job teaching you, haven't we? Now you don't want to disappoint your dad, do you? Okay. And I'm telling you that the sheer thought of disappointment will change behavior. Yes or no? I'm like, I'm not going to spank you. I'm going to tell you I'm disappointed in you. And that will hurt worse than a spanking. Okay. So with adults, we got to do the same thing. We got to keep people in a positive frame. And so the book is called Flip the Switch. It's about the activation of prey drive. It's 10 chapters. It's the biggest book I've ever written. It's what I'm going to be speaking on at the conference in February in Florida. And I'm telling you, it's what I'm going to be speaking on in San Antonio when I'm going to be there in a few weeks. And it's really, really powerful. So John, I'm going to put the link to pre-order the book in here. And the reason you want to do this, guys, number one is I give you a full day on the 9th of December, mapping out your year. You can get the replay of it if you can't watch it that day. It's like 6 hours of me coaching live. And then I'm going to give you a full day, Don Stokes, on January 13th, called Activate. And I'm trying to move this book and get it in as many people's hands as I can. And every book matters to me. Okay. Because I've never had a Wall Street Journal bestseller. I've had Amazon bestsellers, but never a Wall Street Journal. And I want to be able to tell my kids that your dad went from nothing, came from a small town in Tennessee, and your dad's now a Wall Street Journal bestselling author. And if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. I want to be able to show my kids that they can do it, not just tell them they can do it. So when you buy that book, you're going to help me be able to have that conversation with my daughter and my son and I got a 12-week-old. She don't understand what I'm saying yet. She just looks at me. But when she does understand, then I'm going to be able to say, man, your dad's gone from nothing to something. Isn't it everybody's dream, John, to go from nobody to somebody? I
I
mean,
would think so, bro.
John was an accountant over there stuck in a corner cubicle running numbers. And now the dude's one of the top insurance dudes in the world. So, I mean, he's living proof that you can do this. And that's what you got to remember. So you got great leadership. You guys know why I chose family first, don't you? Because I talked to all kinds of insurance people and they all just blew smoke. And finally, I'm like, who is real? Like, who can I plug into that is actual real, that will follow through on what they tell me they're going to do? Okay. And so that's why I ended up with you guys. All right, let's do some Q&A.
I love it, dude. I appreciate having you. And y'all can definitely, if you want people to unmute, or you want them to type it in? What do you prefer?
No, they can ask a question. They can
unmute. I love it.
Hey, John, I got a question.
Go ahead.
This is Mike Schroeds.
What up, dude?
Hey, buddy. Coach, how do you prioritize the expectations that you're setting?
What I do is, that's a great question. I start every day off with really 3 or 4 questions. And question 1 is, what's the greatest level 10 opportunities available to me? These are big, juicy opportunities. I call those level 10. Okay. So I have a board here, I have a remarkable, and I write all day long notes, and I draw boxes. And in that box, Mike, I put level 10s. These are big, juicy opportunities. Could be a partnership with someone that I need to follow up with. It could be a big idea. It could be just a big opportunity. It could be I'm recruiting some people that I think can move the needle. Then I move to what's called my Blue Marlins. And Blue Marlins are my greatest relationships who could have the most return. Okay. My greatest relationships that could have the most return. Okay. A lot of the way I sell is getting people excited about their future. And many times I'm selling strategic partners, because you don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. And when you collaborate with people, you bring in more people. So I'm constantly thinking, how could I do this better? How could I get more people to the party? I then moved to what's called my red zones. And red zones are a football term. I was doing an event with Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is the head coach at Liberty now, kicking everybody's butt at Liberty College. He was at Ole Miss. He scored more points on Saban than anybody. He beat Alabama more times than anybody when he was at Ole Miss. And so I was doing an event with him, and I said, man, I pulled him outside and I said, Hugh, what are you the best at in the world? Okay. Outside of illegal recruiting. Okay. Just joking. He didn't know anything about that, guys. Come on. Now, here's what he said. Nobody's better at scoring touchdowns in the red zone than me. He said, if I get it in the 20-yard line, it's a done deal. And I never forgot that. So, you know what I said? That's a great sales term. Red zones, Mike, are all the people who are close to making a buying decision. But you got to get them across the finish line. Does that make sense? I can't tell you how many horror stories I've had with insurance agents where I told them I needed more of this. I need more life insurance. Hey, I need to be hey, this got a policy going on, man. And they just, it's like they don't even hear me. It's like they're so consumed with something. Like before I came over here with the insurance agency, I told my old insurance agent that I needed more life insurance, that I thought I was underinsured. He never even called me back. I had to call him back. And I'm like, look, dude, I'm probably going to get $20 million worth of life insurance. Like what's wrong with you? Like, I'm trying to buy something from you. So red zone to me is any deal that's close that needs a nudge. So now look, now I got my level 10s. Now I got Blue Marlins. Now I got my red zones. Then I move to what's called my hit list. And my hit list are all the people I'm calling on for new money today. And that new money can come, right, from the leads you're getting. It can come from people that you think of. Like, the way I think is, man, I could help that person. See, when I met John Wetmore, here's a true story. I cold called John Wetmore in person. You ever cold call a person in person? So John Wetmore was at a conference that I was speaking at.
Yeah, you did.
Him and his wife were there. They looked good. He had on them fancy shoes that he wears. And him and his wife just looked like people of interest. And I walked up to him. He can tell you this is a true story. I walked up and said, look, I don't know who you are, but I feel like I should know you. And it would, the very next night, I went to a party with him and was riding in his, he was taking me back to my hotel in the back of his car. That's how fast I move. It's like, hey, I need to know that dude. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you and your wife are, but you seem like people of interest. I feel like I need to know you. And I just initiate conversations with people. And I call that my hit list. Now, I have no idea where it's going to go, but I just do that all day long with people. Man, I just pick up the phone and call people and initiate. So I go to my hit list. I go to my hit list. Now I got my hit list, my red zone, my blue Marlins, my level 10. Then I go to my farm club. This is where the follow-up is. And farm club are people who have indicated interest. Thank all you guys for buying the book too. All the people who are interested in buying insurance or joining your agency, but you haven't brought them to a close. So they need nurturing. So I call my farm club. I'm farming. I'm cultivating. I'm following up. I'm tagging. See, the minute I indicated I needed more insurance from that insurance agent, you know what he should have done? He should have kept following up with me until I had that insurance policy. Everybody see that? He shouldn't wait on me to call him for the insurance policy. I already told him I wanted more insurance. So what I do is I just ask Jeff Breeden how many times I've followed up with him, right? Text messages, follow up, video. See, 4 or 5 times. He's one of the agents that's going to be joining us. So here's my point, man. I'll lock in, Mike. I'll lock in, man. And I just keep going. Now, when I think they're in the red zone, I just ask them a direct question. What would stop you from moving forward with us, man? Let's just address it. And I ask very direct questions.
Yes, sir. Real quick, what's the theme Blue Marlin from? I'm kind of curious.
I was down in Florida with a guy who sold his company for $12 million. And we were outside by a swimming pool, and he said, do you know the difference between me and you, coach? And I said, no. And he said, you're fishing for bluegill in the local lake, and I'm fishing for blue marlin in the Gulf of Mexico.
That's good. I like that.
And I said, so that's big. Blue marlins are big, juicy relationships. Yeah. Like John Wetmore's a blue marlin. Sean, Mike, blue marlin. Right? These are big relationships who have influence. So what I do is I come in and I go, okay, who's my blue marlins I need to be tagging on today that I need to be touching? See, I was at my lodge on Saturday night, and somebody come up and asked me, how have you built relationships with all these people? Story, Grover, Cardone, Milet, whoever. And I said, man, I just worked my system. I just got in the game, added value to their life, became valuable to them, and bring opportunity to people. I mean, but it all came from my selling system. Yep. Yeah. The new book, I got the last 3 chapters in the book are on prey drive and selling. So I go into selling, closing. How does prey drive affect these things?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Good question. I'm having fun. Thank you for buying the books, guys. People that are buying them. Okay. If you don't buy them, it won't bother me. I'll just track you down and ask you what's wrong with you.
He will definitely. Hey, I've watched this follow-up thing, dude. I was like, I heard you talk, and I'm like, he actually did all this to me. Like, because you did the follow-up before I even watched you speak or did anything, really. I mean, I saw you at that one event, but like sending, the thing I thought was nuts is when you were sending because I get people that send me messages and they're like, hey, and they use general terms, and you can tell they sent one video to unlimited people. You know what I mean? Hey, man, or hey, guys. You were like, hey, Wetmore, what's up? And I'd get like live videos, or not live, but you could tell you were talking to me for that particular video. Yep. And it's like just that little extra step. I remember the first one. I'm like, dude, he literally made a video for that message. And I'm sure you sent that. And I've been around you enough now to watch. This joker's all day. I'm in, I don't know, 5 group text messages with you.
Yep. That
I see the follow-up. I can't imagine what your phone looks like.
Yep. Yeah.
So
and here's the deal.
It's impressive, dude.
Prey drive. We live in a distracted world. Yeah. Okay. I can need insurance today or want to join your agency today or whatever you got going on and completely forget about it tomorrow. There's too many things happening. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to stay in people's faces until they make a decision, because the word decide means to kill it off. right? I'm killing something off.
Yep.
So I just watch how bad people follow up. And remember, prey drive is that animal. Picture that lion in John's thing. When it wakes up in the morning, man, it's stalking it.
Mhm.
It's stalking it, and then it's pursuing it. And if you know anything about those lions or the cheetahs or any of those things, because I studied all those animals, man, they go until they get it. They don't halfway go and then just go take the rest of the day off. They go, right. They know when hunting time is, start of day, end of day, close to the water. They know when they can go kill it one time and then boom, then they relax, then they go get it, boom, and then they relax and then they go get it. And I don't see people do that. I was telling my wife this today, John, at lunch. I'm like, man, I just don't see people do that. You got to ask somebody something 7 times. You got to stay in their face. I mean, I bang on people all day, and I just think that's part of prey drive. Objects at rest stay at rest.
How do you think, dude, like, obviously I've managed and worked with a ton of people. And the part I can't figure out is like, there's a lot of people who know they want to do more. They know not only the things they need to implement, but they also know the things they're doing wrong. And dude, they just don't change. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I see the overwhelming majority. It's like, it's not like there's confusion. Like the
Yeah.
people typed in there, they know with the question you asked them the first time.
Yeah.
And I had someone I messaged on it was on my Facebook or whatever. They were they responded to one of my posts, and it was like, I don't know. I said something about letting go of your distractions, and someone asked like, "What if you don't know your distractions?" I'm like, I don't buy that people don't know them. You know what I'm saying? I think most of us know, but how do you get that person? I get a lot, man. Or they'll be like, "This is the time. I'm ready now," and they do it Sunday, and then by Sunday evening, it's gone again. You know what I mean? Like, do they have any hope? Or like, I literally don't know how to manage that. It's hard for me.
Well, it's a vicious cycle. See, I studied a lot of human nature. These are
Mhm.
human nature questions. Why do people
Yeah.
start and quit? Why can't they build discipline? Why do they have good days and bad days? Robert Greene wrote a book called Human Nature. It's really hard to read, but he goes deep into these. Why do good people turn bad? Why does your best friend screw you sometimes? Why like he goes into all these things about why people make bad decisions, right? Like why do they do these things when they know it's detrimental to them? Okay.
Yeah.
And the truth is because there's some psychological payoff for a person, and they can't fight through their feelings. Because what really happens, John, here in prey drive is they just have feelings and they can't master these feelings. So it's like, I don't feel like prospecting today. I know I got a persistence problem, but I don't feel like doing it. This is why when you have a B, which is your big goal, you have to ask yourself, is my desire to get to B greater than my desire to stay where I'm at? And I like because goals, because I want to do this, because I want to do this. See, because I want residual income that's greater than my living expenses. I'm willing to suck the sour to get to the sweet. And that is the persistence it takes. So I know from running a business that it's a game of probability. It's a game of numbers, probability and skill. So how many people can I talk to today to shake them loose, to shake X number of people loose to get a deal? And if you talk to 4 people, you got a lower probability than if you talk to 40 people. Would you agree? Then it comes
100%.
down, then it comes down to how skilled you are. But persistence is just going, I'm a pro. And I think a lot of this comes from my sports background of being a coach. A game was coming on Friday, whether you were ready for it or not, man. And after you won on Friday, you come in on Saturday and you focus on the next game. Like you may celebrate for one night, but then the next day you already moved on to the next game. It's over. And I got into business and I'm like, this is how you should be thinking in business. Today, don't care about what happened yesterday. You may have wrote 7 policies yesterday. Today, don't care because it all goes to 0 at midnight. And you should be thinking, how do I get to 7 today? I had a guy from AT&T come and work with me. And he told me he was a stone cold killer. And he follows Frisella, and he posts all these things about being a stone cold killer. And he came to my team and he struggled because he couldn't connect with people on the phone. He was selling AT&T fiber. It's a product. And he could say, I could save you this much money. Okay. If you buy this product versus this and you need it. And it was a pretty easy sale. There's no real emotion involved. It's like, you could save me money on my internet. Some people are going to say yes, some people, and he couldn't connect to sell the coaching, but he would make a sale and he'd literally take a couple hours off, man. Just kind of strut around the office. And I walked out there one day and said, man, what are you doing? He said, well, at AT&T, when we hit our quota for the day, we shut it down. And I'm like, well, you ain't in Oz anymore, brother. Because with me, when you hit a sale, you need to go get another sale. Like the way we do it here is we build momentum. And when you hit a sale, what happens? What's going to happen tomorrow if you don't get a sale tomorrow? Right. So why don't you just, while you got some momentum in favor, why don't you go get another one? That was a totally foreign concept to him, John. He literally would make a sale, take a couple hours off, celebrate. And I bet, go get you another one right now. Then go get you another one. And then go get you another one. There comes a time when winter asks what you've been doing all spring and summer. So there's going to come a day, it's going to be, man, it's like, dang, it ain't working today. It ain't working today. So, man, the good thing I had a good day yesterday because it ain't working like it did yesterday. So that's why I kind of try to put this into people. And pain, the other answer to your question is pain. When you get sick and tired, I used to coach call centers, insurance call centers. Where they're making 50 or 60 grand a year. It's more money than they've ever made. And then they couldn't motivate them to want to make 100. And you could sit there all day and go, man, if you just made 100. I had an insurance agent literally ask me this. He said, is there really a difference between making, 250,000 a year and 650,000 a year? Is there really that much of a difference? And I said, man, that's the dumbest question anybody's ever asked me. And there's been a lot of dumb questions asked to me, folks. There's a 4-time difference, genius. There's a lot. You know what could happen in your life if you were making 650 a year versus 250? Okay, it's totally different. But in his mind, he got to 250 and he was done. And he got lazy. Okay. And I'm like, man, that's up to you. But what if you want more?
Makes sense. Yeah. I've always struggled with it, but mine was the fear, I was 37 by the time it changed, so I had a little something, but that next gear, it clicked one day for me,
That's right. That prey drive was activated.
Over measly, it was $1,000. I was mad over a bill.
Well, what it did is it embarrassed you, and the embarrassment activated the prey drive. This is why I'm saying one of the worst beatings I took as a coach was a sub-state game that I thought we were good enough to win, and we got beat by 35 points, and it was so embarrassing. We got on the bus and didn't say a word, man, for 3 hours. But it was the best thing ever happened to us because we were exposed to what a championship team really looked like, and we were embarrassed enough to come back and work harder. And so it actually was a great thing.
Hey, that exposure thing's no joke, man. I was at my Let's joint in Cali a few weeks ago, which was bananas. And then I've been fortunate. I hit the 505, whatever it was, year and a half ago, whatever. I came out there. I was like, I was in Nashville a few weeks ago by myself. I was like, dude, I'd like to be chilling up at a 505 right now with something like, golly, that's a dope place, So yeah, that does it now, trying to do big things. And but anybody else got any questions? We got a few more minutes. If you got time, Coach, maybe ask another one or two. If we got anybody, unless everybody's gonna be chicken, just unmute and ask. And you know what I like though, dude? You're like one of the few people that admits there have been really dumb questions. The ones that go, "There's no dumb questions." I'm like, I know those people are lying, but y'all can.
I always say there's no dumb questions. They're just dumb that ask questions. Now, and that's just a joke. That's just a joke, okay? Because I've asked dumb questions in my life to people. But my point is, I do want to end with this.
I got a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What excites you about joining FFL in the insurance industry?
You're
already super successful. So like giving some outside looking in for everybody else, like, what's so exciting about coming here?
I'm going to tell you guys, and I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you. I'm in an industry that I sell an invisible. I sell a future. It is one of the hardest things in the world to sell to people. I'm selling people on if they hire me as their coach, they're going to have a better life. It's very different than selling something that people absolutely need. I believe everybody needs a coach in life, but not everybody will pay for a coach. Almost everybody on planet Earth are smart enough to know they need insurance, especially life insurance. So the reason I got into the insurance business, number one, is because I think it's an incredible vehicle. And I look at a vehicle now. See, I didn't think about this when I started my business. I didn't think about what vehicle I need to go into. So I look at insurance as a vehicle that has great compensation. I think everybody needs it. It's a product everybody needs. I think you can really build something special in it. And that's the reason I've got an insurance, which is why you're seeing all big time influencers get into insurance. How many of y'all are seeing this? It's because they're smart enough to know this is a vehicle that we need to be in. Okay. So that's step one. Step two, the reason I joined FFL is because I was tired of insurance people telling me a lot of things and then not coming through. And I started asking, who do I think can really do this? And I kept coming back to John Wetmore. And I said, John's built an agency. He's grown an agency. He's sold an agency. And I said, can you give me a meeting with Sean Mike? I don't know him that well. I've seen him. And can we just take a meeting? Sean flew to Atlanta. We took a 2-hour meeting. And I immediately knew this is a guy that I could go to battle with. You know, he's just scrappy like me. He's in there fighting. He's a fighter. And I'm like, you know what? This has been more valuable to me than the last 4 years of bogus insurance meetings I've taken with all these other people who told me they were going to do this and who told me they were going to do this, and none of them followed through with it. And so I left that meeting and I called my wife and I said, this is what we're going to partner with. This is the reason we're partnering with FFL, is I believe I can add value to them. They're going to add value to me. And I believe I identify with Sean and with John.
Coach Burt, man, real
Yes.
quick before you go, and this may help a lot of people on this call right now. Man, what does a person do when they don't feel motivated to pick up the phone and dial the leads because of lack of skill?
Yeah. Well, the way you get skills through repetition. And confidence is the memory of success. The way you have this success is through consistent, ongoing, systematic. So I want you to remember this. This will stick with you. Amateurs listen to their feelings. Professionals do not listen to their feelings. Okay, it don't matter how I feel. My because goals and my B of where I'm going is bigger than my feelings. And I'll end with this story. I was speaking behind Michael Irvin. I was speaking right behind Michael Irvin at a conference once. And in Dallas, the media called Michael Irvin Fearless Michael Irvin because they said he wasn't afraid of nobody. And he said, the truth is, I was scared to death of getting hit by Ronnie Lott. He said, because Ronnie Lott would just crush you. And he said, when they called slant Irvin, slant up across the middle of the field, he said, I knew when I caught that football that Ronnie Lott was going to crush me. And he said, I was afraid of getting hit by Ronnie Lott. He said, but I was more afraid of going back to where I came from and being broke than my fear of being hit by Ronnie Lott. Everybody see that? I was more afraid of being broke and going back to where I grew up than I was of being hit by Ronnie Lott. He said, so replace a fear with a bigger fear. And I've never forgotten that story. I thought, man, that's a good way of saying it. See, I got a fear of going back. I don't want to go back, man, to where I used to be. I want to move forward. And that fear of going back is greater than my fear of staying where I'm at. And so when I don't want to do something, my motto is do it right now. I don't want to deal with this difficult conversation. Do it right now. I don't want to pick up the phone and call somebody. Do it right now. I don't want to send a video. Do it right now. When in doubt, take action. And action typically will conquer the fear because it's just kind of squishing that fear down. And a lot of people's like, man, they just look at their phone. This phone is smart, but it ain't smart enough to make the calls for you. Okay. And it ain't smart enough to sell people insurance for you. And if it did, now that'd be something powerful, but it ain't. So it needs you to back it up with action.
Thank you, Coach Burt.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, John. I want to thank you, man, for having me. I'm going to be seeing all of you hopefully at the conference. I'm going to be speaking at the conference in February. But the book is coming out that week. It's the January 31st. So if you pre-order the book, they'll send you all the free things you get. 90 days coaching with me, 2 full days of virtuals with me. So it's a lot of stuff for $26, folks. So hopefully you take advantage of it. And I think the book will help change your life too.
Hey, where do you want them to follow you, dude?
Thank you
you
for asking
prefer,
that
where do you
question.
prefer? Yeah.
I'm on TikTok. I think it's the real Coach Burt on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Michael Burt. And
I
I'm
just
on YouTube.
tagged him in. If y'all follow me on the story, I just tagged his
Yeah.
Instagram too.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
And if you order on Amazon on your own or anything like that, just make sure you send us the receipt so you get all the free stuff. It's send it to coach@coachburt.com. That's the easiest place to send you.
cool. Yeah, and we'll be doing. I know some people are on here from Zach's team call. I just do an open Q&A call pretty regularly. It just happened to coincide with Zach's team call, so we kind of merged it into one. So Zach's call will continue same time every week. We'll always do that. The call that I'm doing, I do it on a rotating schedule because I literally do it around my travel. I'm doing the next one on November 28th at 3 Eastern. So if you want to register for that, just go to my johnwetmore.com, register. Obviously, anyone can get on. And anyone on Zach's, y'all can get on too. It doesn't. I just get on to help people. Whatever I can do to help anybody in the insurance industry, I just get on. Usually open Q&A, talk to agents, whatever's on my mind to help out things I've learned for the last couple of weeks. And we appreciate everybody getting on and asking questions. Coach, appreciate everything you're doing, man, and sharing your time. And I will. I probably have a text message from you in here now on something I got to follow up on, bro. So I'll get to it.
That's right. Follow up, folks. All right. Thank you, guys.
See you guys later.